Yeah, no, Eamon, I think you're taking my words slightly out of context there. What I was saying was that if Siobhan had not left the Sugar Babes, 9/11 probably wouldn't have happened. When I tweeted that I wanted to see Harry Styles' penis, it was only because I wanted to prove that my penis was in fact bigger than his. So, if Harry Styles would simply send me a picture of his penis... No, it's not gay. No, I am not opposed to there being gay characters in Peppa Pig. I'm opposed to Peppa Pig because she's a slut. You know, they say I'm never more lethal than when I'm behind a microphone. Also, I ran over a woman outside of Lidl, but it's mostly the microphone thing. You know, in many ways I feel like I had to start this podcast to get my side of the story out, you know, because it's like I said on GB News and on BBC Breakfast and on BBC News 24-hour service, on BBC World Service, on Loose Women, on Lorraine, on Steph's Packed Lunch. I'm being silenced, okay? The only thing I am guilty of is having an opinion and potentially vehicular manslaughter, but again, YOLO. People keep going, oh, Sam, did you run over a woman outside of Lidl? And it's like, what is a woman? Why is nobody having that conversation? And also, how come nobody's talking about all the women I didn't run over? I think that's interesting, don't you? Is that because after I ran over the first woman, I drove around the car park and ran over several more women and their children and their dogs, if the dogs were female and underage? Maybe. But if you ask me, it's a witch hunt. You know, the more I think about it, maybe the podcast isn't the right way to get my message out. Maybe I should get out there in front of the people. Like the people currently sat at
Monkey Barrel Comedy Club in Edinburgh. Thank you for coming.
They're the kind of people that I need to see. So get ready, everybody, because here comes Daddy.
People of Monkey Barrel, please go on and crazy for Stanley! How lovely to see all of your faces for the first time. Oh, go along with it. Did you enjoy the video? Yeah, good. As my proctologist once said to me, wow, what an opening. I like to start the show with that video because it does let the audience know that this show is one for the lads. Oh, is one for the lads? Is one for you? Any lads in? All right, okay. Famously shy, the lads are. What normally happens when I do that is all of the men in the room will look at each other and go, oh, is this a trap? I don't think we're allowed to be proud of being men right now. I don't think that's legal. Because I don't know if you know, it's actually quite hard to be a man right now. It's actually quite hard. It's really hard it's so hard being a man. Isn't it hard? It's so hard being a man. So hard being a man, because it just feels like everyone in the world is always angry at us just because of all that stuff we did and repeatedly keep doing over and over again. I don't know. I do think it is hard to feel proud of being a man sometimes. Because, you know, if you're a woman, you've got access to devices to make you feel good about being a woman. I don't know why I said devices. I don't mean vibrators. I also don't not mean vibrators. But I'm thinking more of stuff like, you know, like music, like empowering female anthems, you know, like I am woman, I am every woman, I am woman, hear me roar. Like all of these great anthems. I tried to find an empowering male anthem that made men feel good about being men. And the only song I found on Google was one that was called I am the best at FIFA, Darren. Which feels quite specific, doesn't it? I don't know, you've probably seen in the newspapers every couple of years what they like to do is they like to get the men in a bit of a panic and they'll go, where are all of the real men? What happened to men? Where are the real men? Do you think you saw a real man today? No, you must be mistaken. That was probably 3 tiny women in a big trench coat trying to sneak into B&Q because legally they're not allowed to enter there. We know this, right? And it seems like a lot of men are falling victim to that pattern of thinking, you know, sort of like anti-woke, can't say anything these days. And it's happened to like really famous men as well. Like, Good example of this is a man called Eamon Holmes. Do you remember Eamon Holmes off This Morning? I used to love Eamon Holmes. I'd put on This Morning, I'd see him there having a little quarrel with his wife Ruth, and they'd bicker back and forth, and he'd say something funny. I'd go, oh, my biological father, Eamon Holmes, is being so silly today. And he was lovely, wasn't he? We all loved him, right? Even, okay, yes, we did all hear some of the rumours about him, that he likes to sail around the Ivory Coast on his sex kayak, but we put those to one side. We wouldn't hear a word against him because we loved him. He was like our little dad in the morning. But now, right, since then, Eamon Holmes has become a contributor to GB News, to actual GB News. Think of the tens of people he could influence by being on GB News, right? And so sometimes I just wonder, is that going to happen to me one day? I'm a man. Is that going to happen to me? Am I just going to wake up one day and suddenly go, oh, do you know what? I don't think everyone should have rights. That's actually a terrible idea now that I say it out loud. Because I just think that thinking just sneaks up on you when you're least expecting it, right? I think it sneaks up on men when they're already going through significant periods of change and they don't know how to handle it. And when I first wrote this show, that's definitely what was happening to me. I had a lot happen all at the same time, because basically went through quite significant changes. First one, I got married. Oh. I'll tell you about the lucky girl later. I got married and my husband is Scottish, so the second big change was that I moved to Scotland so that we could be together. And then the third big change, right, I left my day job and I became a full-time comedian. Nothing from you there. Okay, no. Good, you're waiting until the end of the show to see if it was a good idea. That's smart, that's humbling, that's nice. It was actually my husband who was the one who told me that I should go for it full time. I was in two minds about it, and he went, oh, honey, just do it. You are so funny. But I'm paraphrasing slightly. What he actually said was, oh, honey, are you fucking kidding me? They sound similar, right? But that's the type of man he is. He's very supportive. He is. He's very supportive. No, don't look at me like that. He's lovely. No, he is. Don't do that. Don't you start. No, he's lovely. Stop it. Don't you get involved. He's lovely. Don't. Okay. What? Right. Okay. You're dragging this out of me, but we did actually have quite a big fight not long ago. I didn't want to talk about this. Not in the middle of my special, in front of a room full of people who've paid to see specifically me and not him. And I don't want this to be recorded and put on the internet. It's going to make everything weird. But seeing as you've asked, what happened was... do you mind, can I just ask, what's your name? Hannah. Hello, Hannah. Right, I'm going to tell you what we had a fight about, and you tell me if I'm overreacting, okay? What it was his birthday, right? And I was in our flat, and he was at work, and I thought, do you know what would be a nice surprise? I'll cook him dinner, but like a fancy dinner, 3 courses, his favourite dishes, right? I'll get a nice bottle of wine, I'll chill it in the fridge, I'll do the dinner table up all nice and romantic, right? So I do all of that, then he comes through the front door, and he looks at everything that I've done, and he goes, oh, that's lovely. I wish you'd said something earlier, though. It's because I just sort of fancy a Domino's tonight. So, Hannah, he ordered a Domino's to the flat and ate the whole thing in front of me on the sofa, didn't offer me a slice, didn't even look at me as I was putting away all of the food that I'd made already into Tupperware, shoving it to the back of the fridge, knowing he's never going to touch that. I'm just going to chuck that in the bin, right? Hannah, am I allowed to be a little bit angry about that? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for validating that, Hannah. Is that the angriest you've ever gotten? You seem quite sweet a person. Thank you for validating it, backing me up. Because genuinely, can you believe this? My husband said I had no right to be angry about any of this, just because it happened in a dream I had. And like I don't care where you messed up, David. You messed up. Do better. Because I know if we've got couples in tonight, one of you will understand. Isn't it so much fun getting angry at your partner for stuff they haven't even done? It's just a little treat for you. I get angry at stuff that's happened in my dreams all of the time. The other day, he was like, why are you in a mood with me now? And I said, you didn't invite me to Shakira's birthday party. Rude. Very rude. But I kid, he is genuinely a lovely man and very supportive when I was going through all of these changes, and that is what I needed, because men don't handle change very well. I know this personally because I've been with David for 9 years now, and he's still saved in my phone as David from Tinder. I refuse to change. I refuse. And I'll be honest with you, out of those big changes, the hardest one to deal with was the job, right? And that wasn't because I was worried about like my future or like my finances or anything like that. I actually just quite enjoyed my job, right? I had a normal 9 to 5 in an office, and say what you like, I bloody love office culture. I love how boring it is. I love how nothing ever happens. I love photocopiers. I love spreadsheets. I love bulldog clips. What are they for? We'll never know. But the thing that I most enjoyed about my job, I had an excellent work bestie. Her name was Claire. She was the office manager. I don't need to tell you what she looks like. Whatever you think Claire, the office manager, looks like, that is exactly what she looks like. You've got it in one. If you can't picture her, take this time to go to a little Build a Claire workshop in your brain. Build yourself a cuddly little Claire that when you squeeze her tummy, she goes, Chardonnay! Do you know what I mean? We all know a Claire, don't we? We all know a Claire. Quite a fabulous woman in her 40s. At any given moment, she will be wearing at least 4 to 18 lanyards. A hefty set of lanyards on her, lads, okay? One year, I think the Met Gala theme will just be lanyards, and it will just be brassy women in their 40s walking up and down the carpet going, am I the only one who does anything around here? Just sort of scary women in the office. We know them, we love them, right? Claire, gay men, we have a name to sort of describe women like Claire. We would call her a Hun, like a love of Huns woman, a Huns net woman. You know the accounts, don't you? Yes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, gay men, we love a woman who's confident, sassy, and vaguely problematic at times, right? And we love to put them on a pedestal and treat them like royalty. For example, do you remember when Alison Hammond nearly killed a man on live TV by pushing him in a river? All of the gay men saw that and went, honestly, Alison, slay, go off, queen. Kill all of the men, we'll back you up. Lovely work there. And now she's an icon, look at her. We love it. We love a vaguely problematic legend. It's got to be vaguely problematic. It can't just be anyone. It's got to be women like Alison Hammond, Holly Willoughby, Rose West, equally problematic women. You might not think Rose West is a Hun, but if I showed you a picture of her in those big 80s sunglasses, you'd be like, okay, she killed some people, but she is absolutely serving cunt right there. Oh my God. There is a hierarchy to the Huns. There is a queen of all of the Huns, and it's different depending on who you ask. If you ask me, the queen of the Huns is a little Geordie princess called Cheryl Cole, okay? Now, I know that's not her name anymore, but to me, she's still Cheryl Cole, right? And Cheryl Cole, I got to see her in real life. And it was the best day ever. I got to see her acting, right? She was acting in a play. It was called 222, A Ghost Story. And I didn't think she'd be a good actress, but she really proved me wrong because it's this play, if you've never seen it, it's a scary play. It's all about ghosts. She plays a woman who's like terrified of ghosts. She's so scared of ghosts. She's so scared of ghosts. And she stands on that stage in front of everybody and she just goes, oh, I'm so scared of ghosts, like. Don't get emotional, don't get emotional. It's just the range she has. It's incredible. It honestly is. So, anyway, so that's what my friend Claire was like. She was a fabulous woman in her 40s, loved a wine, you know the type. And we met at work on a first aid course of all things because we both decided that if anyone at work were to suddenly have a medical emergency, we wanted to make sure that they didn't get all of the attention. Some of it should go to the heroes as well. But she was the type of person who didn't need the training. She just instinctively knew what to do in an emergency. Because we were in a work meeting and a man started choking on his sandwich from Pret, and Claire just looked at him in the eyes and went, oh, stop it. And he did. He just stopped choking then and there. Can you control a man's throat from across the room? Claire can. She's like a white wine drinking Darth Vader. It's very impressive. One of my favourite things about her was that she had all of the workplace gossip. She knew everything about everyone, and because I was her work bestie, she'd tell me all of the gossip. She wouldn't tell me right away. That would be too easy. She'd edge me with the gossip, okay? Horny people at the front, lovely, where I want them. What she'd do is, she'd come over to my desk first thing in the morning, she'd be like, oh my God, babes, have I got a story to tell you? Later. And then she'd leave. And she wouldn't come back to my desk until the end of the day. And she'd lean over my desk, all 18 of her lanyards would hit the desk at the same time. And she'd say the 8 horniest words a woman called Claire, working in office management, could say to the only gay man working in that office. She'd lean over and she'd go, well, You didn't hear this from me, but... Because you know if somebody starts a sentence that way, it's going to be absolutely filthy goss, right? And she knew stuff about our co-workers they didn't know about themselves. Like, she knew Patrick was getting fired before Patrick knew he was getting fired. She knew Alice was pregnant before Alice had ever even had sex with a man for the first time. She knew the Queen had died before Liz Truss had even killed her. I don't know how she pulled that one off. Little joke for the conspiracy theorists there. I don't know if you've got this type of friend in your life, but it was just as soon as me and Claire saw each other, we would start, it doesn't matter who's around you, we could be sat in a coffee shop or somewhere very public, and as soon as we see each other, we'll start saying the most awful and disgusting things to each other, and it's fine for us, but awful for everyone listening in, right? I don't care if when I got to the office, my actual boss was looking right at me. If I could see Claire over at her desk, I'd just shout, "Hi, Claire, you big old slut, yeah, go piss, Queen, you whore," right? Because that's like what we do, right? And it's very jarring for anyone else listening, right? And I do get carried away, because gay men, we love to talk like this. Sometimes I will do this to strangers on the street if I'm in a good mood, and I shouldn't do that. Like, the bus driver doesn't want to be called a girl boss slay cunt. He does, it's like... throws him off, but I'll just walk down the street and just be like, "Hey, you big bitch. Hey, you dumb slut. Hey, you massive whore. Love that pram." Because that one's a baby. Come on, keep up, right? Okay? And I don't know, I just miss Claire's presence in my life every day. It was nice. There was something special about it. Like, when I was around her, I just felt like sort of safe, kind of like protected, like, I don't know, felt looked after, but also a bit confident in myself. There was just like a quality that she had. And it took me ages to work out what that quality was, but I think I've sussed it out now. Claire has something that I like to call BDE. And that stands for Big Daddy Energy, okay? Now, oh, a little woo, okay, lovely. So some of us know what a daddy is. A daddy is someone who could come into this room right now. They don't have to be a man, but sometimes they are. And they'll have this sort of like masculine, sort of father figurely kind of energy. They'll be very sophisticated. They'll have an aura about them that's both comforting, but also kind of sexy. And like, we'll see that energy, the BDE, and we'll just want that BDE just sort of spaffed all over our face and hair. Do you know what I mean, right? It's nice, isn't it? Now, what I've liked to do with audiences in the past, when we've discussed what a daddy is, I liked to ask audiences, like, who they thought was, like, the ultimate daddy, like, in mainstream media, and you get all kinds of answers. The one that came up the most was Pedro Pascal. Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Oh, sorry, did everyone just collectively have an orgasm right there? And the reason they'll say Pedro Pascal is because it's just the first celebrity they can think of that looks exactly like me. And that's fine. But even I have to admit, like, oh God, you see him in The Last of Us, right? Just, you know, being protective over that young girl and just, like, being like the father she doesn't have. Oh my God, he could eat my ass like a clicker any day, honestly. Nom, 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 right? But every time I would ask the audience this question, I'd go, who's the ultimate daddy? None of them would ever say the correct answer, because there is a correct answer. The ultimate daddy is, of course, Stanley Tucci, okay? Yes, it's Stanley Tucci, of course it is. Because think about any film that you've seen Stanley Tucci in, this lovely, kind, caring, bald man, right? In every film you've seen him in, he's always there to help the protagonist with whatever problems they've got, and he'll say something funny, and it will make them feel better. Like, think about it. Think about him in that film Burlesque, with Cher and Christina Aguilera, trying to help them work out which one of them sings the weirdest, right? Or think about him in The Devil Wears Prada, when he's trying to convince Anne Hathaway that she's not a chunky little hog, you know. Not my words. That they genuinely just call Anne Hathaway fat for the full 90 minutes of that movie, and we were like, yeah, I guess she's fucking massive. I can't fix Hollywood, right? Every movie. So I realised that Claire was bringing the BDE to my life, and now I don't have it, but I need it in my life. It's got to come from somewhere. So I said to myself, maybe I could be a daddy like Stanley Tucci, have my own BDE. Someone just laughed at the very thought of this, which is harmful, actually. I would so love to be a daddy like Stanley Tucci. You know, I've actually got this sort of like fantasy scenario that one day I dream of living out. And you could just see it in like one of the Stanley Tucci films. Let's imagine, right, okay, we're in a park, there's a park bench, and Anne Hathaway sat on the bench, and she's very emotional because her job's left her for another woman and her boyfriend's fired her, etc., right? She's there, she needs consoling. Stanley Tucci just kind of appears out of nowhere. He looks great, stylish, sophisticated. He sees Anne Hathaway on the bench, and he confidently struts over to her. He takes a delicate daddy finger and places it under her chin so that she looks at him. And he just goes, "Don't worry, Daddy's taken care of everything." Oh my God. Wouldn't that be amazing if I could pull that off? But even though I'm just imagining this, right? If I put myself in the shoes of Stanley Tucci in this situation, it goes completely wrong. I don't look stylish or sophisticated. I'm wearing a very breathable fabric from Uniqlo. And I look at Anne Hathaway, and I don't walk confidently over to her. I trip on the way to the bench, and instead of putting one finger under her chin, I clumsily put my entire fist into her mouth, and I go, "I'm so sorry, Daddy's made everything significantly worse." So it's gonna take some doing to make me a daddy, right? And look, I'm kind of glad that, like, you know, we've got like sort of like a subtly horny audience. You know what a daddy is, right? You know what a daddy is. Because I'm sick of having to explain it to people. And like, sometimes when I was doing this show for the first time at the Fringe, like, people would need a bit of an explainer afterwards. There was one woman in the front row one day, and she was like, "Listen, I understand what you mean when you say daddy, because I sort of prefer mummies. Do you get what I'm saying?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely fine. All power to you." And she was like, "But I would never use like the term like mummy or MILF. No, I wouldn't, because if anything, I'd go for the term cougar." And I was like, fully support that, love a cougar. Absolutely. Oh, cougar energy. We love a cougar. That's great, love a cougar. And I said to her, "That's interesting that you say that though, because I can't think of what the male equivalent of a cougar would be. Is there a male equivalent of a cougar?" And she very quickly went, "Yes, a paedophile." And I was like, I can't say you're right, I can't say you're wrong. So that's sort of what I set out to become. I wanted not a paedophile, and there's already too many in comedy, too many nonsense in comedy. I think there should be less. Thank you, very brave. Very brave of me to admit. When I say less, I do mean none. There should be no nonces. 0 is the ideal number of nonces in any situation, actually. No, I wanted to become a daddy, right? And I was like, I'm going to put a plan together to become a daddy. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to change sort of like my life in this big way, it's only right that I explain what's going on to my husband. So I sat him down one day and I said, "Listen, honey, I'm at a certain period of my life. I'm a certain age now. I think the time is right for me to become a daddy." And he said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad we're on the same page. Me too. Let's start the adoption process immediately." And I went, no, because you've misunderstood there. I don't want to become like a father, like a dad. No, I don't. No offense to any dads in the room. Love your work, right? But I just. No, we're going for two different things. Like, there's a difference between daddy energy and dad energy, okay? Daddy energy, it's fun, it's sexy, it's cool. Dad energy, it's sad, it's pathetic, it's disgusting. Look at yourself. Because dad energy, very different, okay? Dad energy is walking into a room, immediately forgetting why you walked into that room, and also you're not wearing any trousers, and that's dad energy, right? That's dad energy. Dad energy is holding on to every single USB cable you have ever received in your entire life and keeping them in a special little drawer just in case you might need them in the future, even though most of the devices that they plug into have not been manufactured for 25 years. Put them in the bin, Keith. That's dad energy, right? There is actually no shame in any of this, by the way. I've got a lot of USB cables myself at home. Do you know, I've got so many. If you took them out of the drawer and laid them out on the ground, end to end, next to each other, it would be like a huge waste of time. I don't know why you would do that. Dad energy is telling dad jokes, which we all know are bad jokes, right? Dad jokes are bad jokes. The classic dad joke is like, say the dad's in the kitchen and the kid runs in. The kid will say something like, "Dad, I'm hungry." And the dad will go, "Hi, hungry, I'm Dad." And they'll laugh and laugh until their wife comes home and goes, "Keith, you've not fed the kids in 3 days. Every time they ask for food, you just keep laughing at them. They're hungry and scared of you. This is why we're getting a divorce, Keith." Divorce, big dad energy there, okay? I don't want that. The world doesn't need more dad energy, does it? No, it needs daddy energy. Fun, sexy, cool, right? If you imagine, like, let's say we're imagining Pedro Pascal, like, in, like a sexy scene in a film, right? Okay? If you're into the whole daddy thing, someone in that scene with him might go, "Oh my God, daddy, I'm so horny right now." Oh, right? And that's kind of fun to hear if you're into the daddy stuff, right? If somebody in that scene suddenly went, "Oh, Dad, I'm so horny right now," that would be awkward. Very awkward. Especially when they go, "Hi, horny, I'm Dad." And it's like, Keith, how did you get a role alongside Pedro Pascal? So, I stopped and I thought, how do I become a daddy? What do I need to do? There's many facets to being a daddy, and the first thing that I looked at was sort of that raw masculine quality that they all seem to have, and I have never felt manly in my entire life, despite the fact that I was born with this beard. I was born with a full beard, out of the womb, and I was raised in like one of the most manly environments possible. I grew up in a country pub in Cornwall, right? The first 2 years of my life, I was raised behind a bar. Every time that my mum would come to breastfeed me, she'd get both breasts out and go single or double love. It was very strange. And it was like a weird family as well. Because when I was a teenager, my family could tell that, you know, I was like, you know, a bit different, shall we say? A bit different, right? And this might be like an upsetting thing to hear, but I promise you it's like all fine now. It's all fine. When I was a teenager, because I was different, my family decided to send me to a conversion camp. It's called Butlins. You might have heard of it. I took one look at the chalet and was like, well, you'd only bring a child here if you want them to suffer. And the other thing was that my family is actually mostly Spanish. Most of my family's from Spain, so there was a bit of a language barrier between me being born and raised here and then them in Spain. We couldn't really talk to each other that well, and that was never normally a problem. We still got along great. But there was one Christmas where this became a bit of an issue because my granddad, who was like a devout Catholic priest, okay? He was a devout Catholic priest, very superstitious man as well. He was coming to the UK for Christmas for the first time. He was so Catholic, like really Catholic. Like, he was almost going to become a priest, but then he met my grandmother, and he was like, "Oh, I've got to have a bit of that sweet, sweet poontang," or whatever he said. I wasn't there, neither were you, we can imagine, right? So he's coming to visit us at Christmas, and I was like 6 years old at the time, and I remember this year very well, because me and my mum had a little sort of like Christmas deal going on. I really wanted the hot Christmas toy that year, which was a Furby. Now, I don't know if you remember Furbies. Yeah, Furbies, creepy little bug-eyed fuckers that are really quite like disturbing when you look at them. But when I was a kid, they were a really popular toy, and the thing is, nobody really understood what a Furby was for. People still don't know that they actually had a purpose. And that was a language learning purpose. They helped kids learn the English language, right? Because what would happen is you'd open your Furby, you take it out of the box, and you set it down and you turn it on, and it would start talking, wouldn't it? They could talk. But it would talk in a made-up language. It's a made-up language called Furbish, right? That's what they called it, and it's a completely made-up language. It's like Simlish or Klingon or Welsh, completely made up. But then over time, it would start replacing its Furbish words with English words so that your child would learn English at the same time as its cute Furby friend. It's a lovely idea. And so I said to my mum, that's what I wanted for Christmas. And she said, okay, I'll do you a deal, right? I'll get you a Furby, but I want you to be able to say some stuff in Spanish when your granddad gets here. So I'm going to get you a Spanish-speaking Furby. El Furby, okay? That is what they're called. Don't Google it. And so Christmas Day comes around, my granddad is there, and he's staying in my room because I've got the bunk bed, so he's on the bottom bunk, I'm on the top bunk, and it's Christmas Day, I open my presents, I get the Furby, I love it, playing with it all day. And I don't know if you noticed, when you open a Furby and you turn it on, they cannot be silenced. They will just keep talking at any point, at any time, right? So I take my Furby up to my bedroom, I go to bed, my granddad is trying to sleep and he's finding it difficult. And keep in mind, all day, the Furby has only been speaking in Furbish, right? Only in Furbish. And then in the middle of the night, in pitch black darkness, when only my Spanish-speaking granddad could hear it, the Furby starts randomly talking in Spanish. And my granddad naturally is convinced the Furby has been possessed by a demon. And I'm not exaggerating here. My granddad straight up murdered my Furby. He committed Furbicide, right? Took the Furby out to the back garden, smashed it in the back of the head with a shovel, buried it in the garden, hoping we'd never find it, right? Of course, we did find it. How could we miss it? There's a Furby grave in the garden that wasn't there before. And then when we found out what he did, we tried to work out why he did it. And like I said, my granddad doesn't speak English. So there's no sort of direct translation for what he said. But it was words to the effect of, "There is no heaven for a creature like this," right? Why, yes, my granddad is in the Dolmio puppet family. So I didn't have exactly like a lot of male role models to look up to when I was growing up. So that was quite a challenge, right? And I was saying this to a friend of mine. I was saying to them, like, oh, I would really love to be just like a little bit more manly. And they said, well, Sam, why don't you just picture the most manly man you know in your life and just try and emulate him, copy him, be just like him. And as soon as they said this, I immediately thought of Daryl. Daryl, I know through a friend of mine, he is such a lad, like such a bloke. Like he's got kind of like a threatening energy to him. He's got that banter with the ladies and like, he's just like exactly what you picture. Just like such a lad, such a bloke, such a geezer. I should probably also tell you that Daryl is 7 years old. Do any of you have this in your life? Just a rambunctious young boy who for absolutely no reason has the same energy as a South London cab driver who's seen some shit. That's Daryl. Like, it was very confusing. I was babysitting him one day and we were in the park, it was a hot day, and I gave him some money and I said, Daryl, why don't you go get us some ice creams? You be a big boy, go on, you go buy the ice creams yourself, thinking it would be a lovely character building experience for him. And I swear to God, the way he spoke to the woman in the ice cream van, he literally went up to her and was like, all right, darling, how you doing? Him over there, he's going to have a fab, and I'll have a 99 if you're all right, unless you want to make it a 69. And I was like, who taught you that, Daryl? So I think we can all agree on the manly side of things, not doing too great. Let's look at a different aspect of being a daddy, shall we? And that is that raw sexual magnetism, okay? Now, there's no way for me to get through this part of the show without unfortunately having to tell you about my many, many sexual escapades. That is what the next part of the show is going to be about. I'm going to tell you about all of my sort of like sexual experiences, like literally all of them, all both of them. It's not going to take long. Because you'll see from the first couple of stories, you'll see that I didn't have, like, the most exciting foray into becoming sexually active. The first time I ever had a sexual experience with a man, deal with it, it's 2025, I had just got to uni, it was in my dorm room, this guy that I was seeing, he came back to my room, right, it was just me and him, and he gave me a hand job. Legend, right? And just so you're aware, my family is in, like a lot of family as well, so this is going to be tense, right? Okay, now, I like some of you are going like, oh my God, he got a hand job. So cool, so trendy. I lose some of the trendiness when I reveal that the hand job lasted for 45 full minutes. No stopping, no unbroken contact, just 45 minutes of pure hand job action, okay? Before he started, he did chalk up his hands like an Olympic gymnast, and I did wonder why that was necessary. He started singing a sea shanty halfway through just to keep his spirits up. I was like, that's unnecessary, actually. You can see, first sexual experience, not really anything to write home about, which is a shame because my mum does love those letters. The second one, though, okay, like the second time, things get a bit spicier, okay? I've broken up with that guy, and I'm actually just focusing on, like, trying to be, like, a good student working on my studies. And I was in a dorm with all straight men, right? And one day they knock on my door and they go, listen, we really want to go out tonight, and we're worried that you're not sort of, like, really enjoying life whilst you're here at uni. So we wondered, like, we're all curious to go to a gay bar. There's one, like, 10 minutes from here. Can we take you to a gay bar and, like, see what it's like? Like, that must be exciting for you. And at first I was like, oh my God, what a stunning display of allyship from my straight friends. Like, how lovely that they want to support me on this journey. But then if you're a queer person who's ever taken a straight person to a queer space, you'll recognise what's about to happen, because we start walking towards the bar, and as we get closer to it, they start going, yeah, so I know, they're going to know I'm not gay, right? Because obviously I don't look gay, I don't sound gay. I mean, Sam, you look gay, you sound gay, you're basically sucking a cock right now on the street. Very gay, but they're going to know I'm not gay, because obviously I'm not gay. Nobody's going to chat me up, nobody's going to talk to me, they're going to leave me alone because I'm obviously not gay. They're going to leave me alone, they won't talk to me. Then we get in the bar, nobody talks to them, and then they start going, why is nobody talking to me? Do they not think I could be gay? I could be gay if I wanted to, I could have sex with a man if I had to, all right? So I sort of leave my friends in a bisexual panic in the corner of the room. And I head over to the bar and I get myself a drink. I get myself a cherry WKD because I love hard liquor, okay? And whilst I'm at the bar, for the first time in my life, I start getting chatted up by this guy. This has never happened before. And I'm so naive to it. I don't really understand why he's talking to me. I don't recognise it as being chatted up. But he's saying stuff to me like, oh, mate, can I just say, you smell incredible. Tom Ford? And I went, no, my name's Sam Lake. Why would you guess my name after sniffing me? That's weird. That's weird. But then we chat more and I get it, right? And then he disappears for a bit. He approaches a large group of men on the dance floor. And I mean large in terms of the number of men and the size of each individual man. They're quite big men, right? And then he comes back and he goes, listen, I don't know if I told you this already. I'm actually part of an all-gay rugby team. We were just here for a match today and now we're sort of having a night out to celebrate. And we really like your vibe. We wondered, do you want to come back to our hotel room with us? Yeah, did somebody actually go, oh? Yeah, no, it is surprising. It was like, me and 11 all-gay rugby players. It was like a very sexy but very easy to solve Where's Wally? Like, it's that one. He's there. Now, I'm not so naive that I don't understand what I could be walking into if I go back to their hotel suite. So I'll go, do you know what? I'll ask my friends for a bit of advice here. So I walk over to my friends, right? And as I'm walking over, I think about any time this has been the other way round. Usually for a female friend, when we're out in the club, right? We're in the club and we're having a dance, and she will come back to the group. She'll have disappeared for like 20 minutes and come back and she'll go like, hi everyone, yeah, having a great time. Hey, listen, I think I'm just gonna go. I've just been talking to this guy. He's called Greg, he's on my sociology course. Like, it's actually like, he's really fair, he's really nice, really kind. I think I'm gonna go back to his place. It's absolutely fine. I've got protection, I've got money, I'll text you the address. I'll be absolutely sensible. I'm not even that drunk. It will be absolutely fine. Don't worry about me. Even if she says not to worry about her, that will not stop us from forming a human shield around her on the dance floor as we execute a battle plan, as if we're just going to let her go off into the night with a man called Greg. No. I'm doing a criminal background check. I've got him on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I've got his mum's home address just in case things go south. I've got all of this stuff for her in case she needs it. I'm like, here's a change of clothes, here's money for a taxi. Look, don't ask where I got that. Here's a gun. Here's a full gun. Take the gun and start a group chat with us right now and drop a pin. You drop a pin right now so I know where you are. And if at any point Greg makes you feel uncomfortable, I will come over there and I swear to God, I will fuck Greg up. I will absolutely fuck Greg up. I will kick down his door and I will look at him and I will say, Greg, she's got to go. Best of luck with your future endeavours. Okay, lovely. Because that's what we would do for each other. We look out for each other. I start walking over to my straight friends in the corner and I go, hi lads, that group of 11 all-gay rugby players who are twice my size would like me to go back to their hotel suite with them, and I've only given out one hand job in my entire life. Do you think this is a bit much for me? And they literally just went, we'll see you in the morning, Sam. Okay, off you go. And I was like, all right, okay, yeah, I guess this is happening. That's absolutely fine. Okay, yeah, great. No, yeah, lovely. I'm fine with this. And I get to the hotel suite. I go to the hotel suite. And it's exactly what you think it will be. It's a bloody rugby player orgy. It is, right? And some of these men, they're doing stuff to each other that, like, I would never let a man do to me unless he promised that he loved me. Right, okay. Honestly, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And I swear to God, like, you're probably sat there thinking, oh my God, I can only imagine. Did you do anything at the orgy? Oh, I did stuff at the orgy. I did. No, I did. I absolutely cleaned up at the orgy. I did. Literally, I cleaned up a little bit. They were making quite a mess. I made some sandwiches, some vol-au-vents, you know, kept the party going. And then I got stuck into the orgy, like properly stuck into the orgy. Like, I can't believe how many people I've told this story. Like, you must think the worst of me when I tell you. So I was at the orgy, right? Okay, I was at an orgy. Let's not forget, I was at an orgy. Very cool. I was at an orgy. I was at an orgy. Don't forget, go tell a friend that I was at an orgy. I was at an orgy. And when I was at this orgy, I got another hand job. Just another hand job. Legend! Another hand job. Yeah, round of applause. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, if it ain't broke, just wank it off again. No? Yeah, lovely. And you remember how the first hand job went? So 2.5 hours later, the hand job was complete. And the crazy thing was, right, I left the hotel suite, went back to my dorm, and none of my friends were with me. They didn't know what had happened in the hotel room. And that was kind of fun, because that meant that I could just, like, sort of pretend that I did all of this crazy, sexy stuff. And that was kind of fun, to sort of walk around campus with this kind of, like, huge slut energy. Like, it was weirdly empowering. Like, I quite enjoyed it. I sort of walked around campus a bit like Samantha from Sex and the City. You know Samantha from Sex and the City, where she's, the four of them, they're sat at the dinner table, and then Samantha will say something like, oh my God, I love sucking those cocks. Or whatever she sounds like. I've never seen the show, personally, but... And it was quite fun for a while. I felt good about myself. But then a very well-meaning friend sort of ruined it, because they were like, well, listen, Sam, as you're sexually active now, I just got to check, you know, you're being sensible, you're being safe, right? Are you using protection? And I was like, of course, I never have sex without a pair of goggles. And they were like... And they were like, okay, great, but are you getting tested? If you're sexually active, that's very important to do, at least every couple of months. And I was like, I'm going to get my first test tomorrow. Don't you worry. I'm going to be responsible about this. And I went to the clinic the next day. Anyone here been to an STI clinic recently? Just one, and the rest of us barebacking. Love that. Love that for us. Yeah. I thought my sort of confident, slutty energy would continue into the STI clinic. It did not, right? I thought I was going to kick down the door and act like Mae West and be like, hi, fellas, I'll have my usual, right? That's not what happened. I go up to the first person that I can tell works there, and I very innocently go, hello, I've had 2 hand jobs, and I think I might have chlamydia, gonorrhea, and I think I might be pregnant. I'm carrying a lot of water weight. I'm not ready to become a mother. Please fix this for me. And I'll never forget it. She very sweetly went, I'm just the receptionist. So you save all of that for the doctor. They'll be ready for you soon. And what happens before you go see a doctor is you get a little screening done by a very stern nurse, right? She's very stern. And what she'll do is she'll ask you all these quite invasive questions. And then she got to this one question, and the question was, what's brought you in here today specifically? Any recent high-risk sexual activity? And when I heard the question, I was like, oh my God, today of all days. Well, seeing as you are, Sharon, it just so happens that I was recently at an orgy. And so Sharon goes, oh, right, okay, yeah, that is quite high risk. Okay, could you just go over in details, if you can remember, all of the types of sexual contact that you had at the orgy, and please, be specific. And I said, of course, Sharon, no problem. I was at an orgy, so you can understand. It's your general orgy stuff, your general orgy. Admin, your orgy bits and bobs. And she was like, yeah, get that. I just need specific types of contact, if you don't mind, just so I know what we need to screen you for. And I was like, yeah, no. So I was at an orgy, and I just had a little hand job. And she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. And I was like, sorry, no. I just say I was at an orgy. Let's not forget that, Sharon. I was at an orgy, and I just had like a tiny little, like a big, just like a hand job. And she was like, I'm sorry, what are you saying exactly? It's like, oh, for Christ's sake, Sharon, I had a hand job, right? Okay, I went to an orgy with an all-gay rugby team, all 11 of them, and I just got a hand job, okay? I just got a hand job, went all the way to an orgy, and just had a hand job. Are you happy now? And I don't know if any of you have ever had a nurse in an STI clinic start laughing at you. Because apparently you haven't had risky enough sex for her liking. But once she contains herself, she goes, right, bless your cotton little socks. Right, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm just going to give you sort of like an all-over screening, right? We'll just get you tested for everything so that you know what to expect the next time you come in here. Maybe when you've done something slightly more adventurous, Sam. I said, okay, Judgy, right, okay. So she goes away and I go into an examination room and I'm there, I'm ready to be examined and I'm getting the full suite of tests, going to get a clean bill of health, right? So the doctor comes in and at first he seems like a very nice doctor. And then he goes, say, listen, Sharon did tell me that it's your first time here, so I want to make sure you're comfortable. But it just so happens, I happen to have 4 junior doctors outside the room. They're sort of observing me today. And so I just wondered, is it okay if they join me for your examination? And I said, yes, doctor. Of course it's okay. I'm very comfortable with everything that's happening right now. I was just at an orgy. So the doctors come in, all of them, right? And I must have misunderstood what he meant when he said they're going to join him for the observation. I assumed they would just sort of like take notes, see what he's doing. No. Apparently what he meant was, can each one of them have a go at one of the examinations, right? And let's remember, I'm there for the full suite of tests. So swabs and fingers are going places I don't think they should go, actually. And I love the NHS, but junior doctors, when they start, very shaky hands. It's unpleasant. So I was quite traumatised by the situation. All of the doctors leave, right, and then Sharon the nurse comes back in and she goes, listen, last thing I need you to do is just sort of like a health and safety thing. Just need to write down on this bit of paper the last 6 people that you've had sexual contact with, okay? And so I wrote down the names of the 2 men who gave me hand jobs. Let's salute them for their service. And then I was so confused by what had just happened to me, I wrote down the names of the 4 doctors that had just left the room, going, I'm sorry, Dr. Patel went 3rd base on me. That does count, Sharon. That does count. Honestly, that was my start to becoming a sexually active person, okay? So I think you can agree on this front of being a daddy as well, still not doing great, all right? Now, there's a bit more to sort of like the sexy side of the daddy, and I'll come on to this. And I will say, this happened like a little bit after the time in the gay bar, some time had passed, right? I'd retreated a little bit. I was keeping myself to myself, but what I got really into was talking to men online, right? Now, when I say talking to men online, I mean online. We didn't have apps. You used to have to talk to people on something called a website. Have you ever heard of a website? I used to have to talk to men on a website, right? And there was this one website for gay men. It was called Gaydar, genuinely just called Gaydar, right? And you go on there, and you could talk to other gay men, and you could see if they lived, like, near you, right? So kind of similar to, like, most dating websites. And if someone liked the look of your profile, you could move the conversation off the website to MSN Messenger. Yes, this happened quite some time ago, and we don't need to pinpoint when, okay? So I had my account on gaydar.com and I got talking to some guys, some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. And I will, listen, just before I carry on with this story, I will explain, I do understand that in the gay world, with gay men, right, we do move very quickly. We're very quick, it's very sort of like hookup culture, right? So we're very quick to do stuff that straight people I don't think would normally do. We're very quick, for example, to send a nude, okay? Very quick to send a nude. At any given moment, any gay man in this room has at least 12 photo quality nudes in their pocket ready to give out at a moment's notice. We treat them like business cards, okay? I might see you and go, hi, it's me, Sam Lake from Sam Lake Buchanan and Associates. Here's a picture of my anus that I took under my desk lamp last night. You take that. Take the card. Thank you. We do. So genuinely, sometimes when I was on apps, people would just start the conversation with a nude, or they'd ask you for a nude without even asking your name or anything. And sometimes, like, it would be fine. There was one time where a guy said, hey, got any pics? And so I sent him, like, some very, like, tasteful pics, like, just, you know, fully clothed, like, nice stuff that you put on Facebook, right? And then he was like, nice, got any more pics? And I was like, okay, I see where you're going. So then I send him, you know, some quite harmless stuff, just sort of like tap saff, you know, that kind of thing, right? And then he goes, got any more pics? And I'm like, all right, fine. So I send him, like, all of the goodies, right? And then he goes, got any more pics? And I go, no, I've run out of holes. What else do you want? What else do you want to see? There's nothing left. And he was like, I just want to see some more pics, baby. So I go, okay. So I sent him an X-ray because I was like, I've run out of stuff on the outside. Enjoy my bones. So I'm chatting to this guy on Gaydar, right? And he seems nice, so we move over to MSN Messenger. We talk for a bit, it's all good. We talk about maybe going on a date, right? But we never actually end up doing it. What happens is, there was one night where I go out and I get really drunk with my mates, and I come back home and I turn on MSN Messenger and he's online. And he's also been on a big night out with his friends, and he's also a bit drunk. So we get on to MSN Messenger, we turn our webcams on, and we do a cheeky bit of like cam stuff, right? Nothing like too sordid. He's sort of like really convincing me to do it. He's just like, hey, like just put the camera, send me like a cheeky nude photo. And I'd never done this before. And so I was like, oh, I don't know, that might be too much for me. Like, I'm kind of new to all of this. And he was like, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. I'll send you one. You send me one. It's perfectly fine. So I'm convinced. I take a lovely little nude photo of myself. I send it to him and we do some stuff on cam. It's perfectly fine. Nothing too bad, right? And then a couple more days go by. He gets a bit intense for my liking. He starts saying some stuff. I think he forgot at some point that I was quite new to this scene, quite new to all of this. So he was saying a lot of stuff that I just think I wasn't comfortable at the time. So I guess what you would say is I got the ick. Very young, cool, edgy word that Daryl taught me. I did say his name was Daryl, didn't I? It doesn't matter. He's not real. So like, I get the ick, right? And so as nicely as I can say to him the next time we're chatting, I go, listen, I know you want to go on a date, and you also said that you want to do some other stuff, which I don't love the sound of, and that's not me judging you. I personally just... Basically what I'm saying is I don't think I would like to go on a date with you. I'm so sorry. I think it's all gotten a bit too much. I think I'd just like to just end it here if that's okay. And he said, oh my God, you manipulative little slut. And I was like, no, sorry, I know I'm probably saying this all wrong. I mean, what you want to do, like, that's fine. If you went with someone more experienced, like, they would probably love it. I'm just, like, a bit, like, uncomfortable with it right now. It's not what I'm ready for. And, like, honestly, like, I think you're great. Like, I hope you meet another man, like, several other men. Do you like rugby? I can put you in touch with a rugby team if you're into that. But he wasn't having it. He blocked me on everything after calling me some pretty nasty things. And then we don't speak. And I kind of felt bad, but I sort of moved on with my life. And a couple months go by, and then he finds me on Facebook, right? And his little message window pops up. And he goes, hey, I just wanted to get in touch with you because I was thinking about how you didn't want to go on a date with me, and I felt like you were leading me on, and I just wanted to let you know I've thought about it, and I forgive you. Thank you so much. I didn't need that, but thank you. Great. And he was like, well, that's not all I want to say. I actually kind of need to confess something to you. I was really angry at you, so I don't know if you remember sending me that nude photo of yourself. I was really angry, so I took that photo and I uploaded it to this porn website. And I didn't believe him at first, but then he sent me the link to it and I opened it and that was me. I was completely naked on the internet for anyone to see. I was looking at it sort of like going, this can't be real. That is my face, that's my body, that's my gigantic cock. But that's besides the point, that's not important. That's not important right now. I was kind of like in a state of shock, like I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And then he carries on messaging me and he goes, yeah, and then I found that that wasn't enough. So I remember you saying that you're quite new to the gay scene in the village that you've moved to. So I messaged all of my friends who live in that village and I personally sent them the photo. So just be aware that if you ever meet any of the gay men in your town, the chances are they've probably all already seen you naked. Now, there is a word for this now. It's called revenge porn, and it's not nice. But back then, it was just an adorable little thing that men were allowed to do, and it's fine, and it's great, and what's wrong with it? But it was really traumatizing. I thought the worst stuff, all at the same time. I thought, oh my God, what if somebody I know sees this online? What if my family sees it, and they think that I've gone off the rails, and they need me to come home, like just abandon uni completely? I'm obviously a wild child now, they can't trust me. What if my friends see it, and they don't want to talk to me, because they think I'm some sex-crazed maniac, because I was always pretending to be one, and my photo's just there online, and I'm just doing that willingly. This sounds crazy, but I had a job lined up for the summer, and I thought, what if my employer sees this? Because what if they have like some kind of moral and ethics code that I've already violated, and they see it and they go, well, obviously we can't have you work for us. You're not going to do this job. I needed that money to get through the last year of uni. Like, this could have really fucked everything up for me. Now, fortunately, it didn't. It was quite bad at the time, but I got through it, and it was all okay in the end. But there's a very important reason why I wanted to put this story in the show. First of all, because I feel like some people have had similar things happen to them and it's not nice, and I think it's good to show that you can come out the other side of it perfectly fine. I also think it just highlights why I wanted to be a daddy so badly. I don't think I wanted, to actually be Stanley Tucci or anything. I just wanted to be able to walk into a room with confidence, feel good about myself, feel good in my own skin, that kind of thing, and maybe this robbed me a little bit of it. And this is the kind of thing that men do to each other a lot, and it's why we can be so toxic to each other. And the last reason is that this is my show. I wrote everything in it. I'm telling you all of these stories. If I want to tell you this story, I can. It's my right to. I can say this story as many times as I like. I can also tell you that the full name of the man who did this to me... He's called Eamon Holmes. And I'm kidding. His lawyers have been in touch. I must say that is a joke, okay? I'm not going to tell you his name. I wouldn't get anything from telling you that, okay? The damage is done and it's all completely fine. But once I worked this out, I thought, wow, okay, this is a revelation. Like, this is a pretty big realization. I need to talk to a professional about this. So I did. I sought out the advice of a professional office manager. I spoke to Claire again. And I said, Claire, I've been a mess without you. I went on this journey to try and become a daddy, to try and replicate your daddy energy, and it's all gone completely wrong, and it's dug up all of this old shit that I don't want to think about. And she stopped me, and she was like, babes, I understand everything that you're saying, okay? You want to feel good about yourself, confident in your body, okay? I completely get it, right? Here's what we're going to do. You and me, we're going to go on hollybobs. Because, of course, she calls them hollybobs. We're going to go on hollybobs. We're going to go on hollywolly-wobbly-wobbly-wobs, okay? We're going to go on holly-wolly, jolly-wolly, bobbly-wobbly, Madeline McCanny-wanny, wobbly-wobbly-wobs, okay? You and me, we're going to go on hollybobs. We're going to go to Ibiza, party capital of the world. We're going to go drink Aperol spritzes by a pool. We're going to lounge. It's going to be lovely. We're going to put the world to rights. And as the week goes by, I'm going to get you to wear more and more revealing swimwear, all right? You're going to feel weird at first, but then by the end of the week, you're going to feel really good about yourself. You're going to realise nobody cares, right? It's all about what you think. Nobody's even looking. It's Europe. It's Spain. Every Spanish man is gay. They're all gay, right? Do you trust me, babes? And I said, Claire, I trust you with my life. So we go to Ibiza, right, and we have this holiday. First date, it's already perfect. We're sat by the pool, having Aperol spritzes. We are having a lovely time. And because it's the first day of the holiday, I'm in, like, quite modest swimwear at first. What it is, it's like a pair of, it's these jeans. I was wearing these jeans. by the pool. But then as the week went by, we sort of progressed. So I went from jeans to a pair of shorts, then a shorter pair of shorts, then an even shorter pair of shorts, then a pair of proper swimming trunks, then a shorter pair of swimming trunks. And by the end of the week, I am fully in a Speedo. In a Speedo and a lanyard. Claire said it would complete the look. And I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. Okay, I'm just in a Speedo at the pool. Is anyone looking? Okay, a few people are. And okay, now they've gone back to their books that they were reading. Okay, all right. I guess this is fine. All right, okay. This isn't so bad. I feel all right. And I went to go sit on my sun lounger next to Claire. And usually, most days, people would just leave us alone. Like me and Claire, we got to the front of the pool. We got the best sun lounges. And then everyone else, because it was Ibiza, party capital of the world, they're all out, late nights, going to DJ sets and going to foam parties and taking lots of foam. And so they pile up on the sun lounges behind us, sort of dead to the world. They leave us to it, right? Until the last day, Speedo day of the holiday, this guy approaches me and Claire and actually starts talking to us. And he looked absolute daddy of a man, like very built, very toned, like looks like a construction worker, right? And he comes over to me and Claire and introduces himself. And he goes, hi, sorry, this is a bit odd. My name's Rob, nice to meet you. I just wanted to ask, there's a sun lounger free next to you. My friends are on the ones behind you, and as you can see, they hit it a bit too hard last night. Is it all right if I just sit next to you guys? It would be lovely to have a chat, get to know you, but if you don't want to, that's fine. I can just sit there and just be quiet. And I was kind of like, well, all right, okay, no, this is fine. Rob, was it? Yeah, no, please sit down on the sun lounger. That's lovely. My name is Sam. This is Claire. Claire had passed out at this point because it was 11 o'clock in the morning and she'd had 12 Aperol spritzes. So it was just me and Rob having a conversation. Rob comments on my Speedo. He goes, oh, I love those Speedos, Sam. That's quite the look, isn't it? What's that emblem on the front of them? And I go, oh, sorry, thank you. Yeah, that's a Furby. These were my granddad's. He loves them, he does. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Right, Sam, what do you do for a living? Tell me about yourself. And this was around the time that I left my job to become a full-time comedian, and I made the mistake of saying exactly that. I was like, oh, well, Rob, I'm a stand-up comedian, and you should never say that to people in the public, because then they go, oh, tell us a joke then. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. We love it. Every Uber ride is a joy, yeah. So normally that's what people would say. They go, oh, tell us a joke then. But not Rob, very avant-garde man. He looks at me and he goes, oh my God, you're a stand-up comedian. Can I tell you a joke, please? And I went, no, that's not how this is supposed to work. What? He's like, can I tell you a joke? And I was like, sure, Rob, go for it. You tell me a joke, go for it. He stood up and he got really excited, vibrating with excitement. And he's looking at me, ready to tell me the joke. And he sets up the daddiest dad joke you've ever heard in your entire life. He's going oh my God, Sam, you're going to love this. You're going to want to put this in your set. You're going to want to put this in a show. You're going to want to write this down. Okay, right, oh God. And he was so excited to tell me. And he goes, okay, here's the joke, right? What does a man with a 12-inch penis have for breakfast? And without missing a beat, I just go, well, Rob, this morning I had Weetabix. Absolutely intercepted the dad joke in its path. And I don't know if you've ever seen a man get ready to tell a punchline and then not get to tell it. He kind of error message. He was just kind of like that, and he just sort of paused and he didn't know what to do. Everyone by the poolside who could hear what had just happened freaked out, and I'm not exaggerating. A woman who was sat behind us, who I genuinely thought might be dead, sat bolt upright so quickly that the sunglasses on her head flew off and landed in the pool in front of us. And it just so happened this woman turned out to be Rob's wife, and she sat up and she went, oh my God, he's told that joke to 40 people since we got here, and you're the first person I've ever heard in my entire life beat him to the punchline. And I really don't know what came over me in this moment. I stood up out of the sun lounger. I adopted a very powerful daddy stance, right? I could feel it coming on. And I don't know why I did this, but I looked at Rob and I went, Rob, isn't that interesting? It looks like I'm about to fuck your wife. And I had a moment where I went, uh-oh, I think I might have daddied too close to the sun. But it didn't matter though, because Rob was just so obsessed with the fact that I beat him to the punchline. He followed me around for the rest of the day, constantly telling me punchlines, and I'm beating him to every single one because they're jokes I've heard 100 times before from every man I've ever known, right? I get to the bar, right, and it is like, Rob is really desperate to, like, prove his manliness still, so he does a really blokey thing and challenges me to a drinking contest. But he lets me choose the drink, which is a mistake, because I choose cherry WKDs. I drink 11 of them without breathing. Rob has one and goes into a diabetic coma. And I was like, it's unquestionable. I'm the daddy of the poolside right now. It's me. I've got the big daddy energy, and I felt marvellous. It's what I wanted my whole life. I just wanted to feel some daddy energy for once. But as I was, like, sort of enjoying my moment, I looked at Rob, and he looked so sad, like, downtrodden. I felt really bad for him, because he was a perfectly lovely man. In the conversations that we'd had, all he said was that he was a lovely husband, and his wife agreed. He was a lovely father to his kids. Like, he seemed like a really decent guy. And so I didn't like making him feel that way. And so that's when I realised, okay, I've always wanted to be a daddy, and I'm really enjoying this moment, but I don't want to do it this way. I don't want to be one of those awful men who only, like, hoards power and influence so that when they walk into a room, they can make everyone else feel like shit so that they feel better. That's not what I want to do. If I've got some spare daddy energy, I'd like to give it to people who need it so that they can feel good about themselves. That's what Claire would do. That's what I would like to do, right? And that's really sort of the message of this show. If you've got some spare BDE, if you're having a particularly daddy day, right, share some of that energy with people who might need it, okay? Obviously not paedophiles or Tories. Don't give it to them. Not them. Don't give it to them. But someone who needs it. I looked at Rob and I said, Rob, what are we doing? We're having a silly little peacocky kind of competition. This is silly. Should we just grab another round of drinks, go back to the sun lounges and enjoy the rest of our day? And he said, do you know what, Sam? That would actually be lovely. And Rob and I spent the rest of the day having an absolutely lovely daddy time. 2 daddies at the poolside. And what's wrong with that? It's perfectly lovely. It was a lovely day, a lovely end to the holiday. There's only one thing that nearly ruined it. The waiter came over to the sun lounges and he said, hi lads, listen, you've just had quite a big drinking competition and your friend Claire is currently passed out on a pool floaty. We asked her to pay your bar tab, and when one of the waitresses did that, she slapped her. Could maybe one of you pay for all of the drinks? And Rob, being a gracious loser, he went to take the card out of his shorts pocket, and he was about to pay for everything. But I slapped the card out of his hand. I took a delicate daddy finger and placed it under his chin so that he would look at me and I could go, don't worry, daddy's taken care of everything. That's the show, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Right, listen. Oh, no, go on. I was great. No, I was. Thank you. Lovely. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Now, I have a lovely producer, Claire. We can. It's not. Let's let her have her moment. Okay. Are you coming up here?
I'm just gonna say it so I'm not yelling.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so we're just gonna check if we need to do any bits again and then re-record them. Thank you so much. Okay, I don't want sort of feedback, but yes, okay.
There's 3 bits that are all the same.
Okay.
I don't know if you did mention Daryl.
You did.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
There's 2 bits where when you said I lived with all straight male flatmates, somebody gagged.
Leave it in. They're disgusting. Yeah.
On the same vein.
Yeah.
When you went into club, somebody went, we all found.
Leave it in. No, it's very raw. It's natural. That's fine.
When you're talking about going to the gay club and your friends are like, saying like, they'll know I'm not gay. You go,
Yeah.
you start off by going, you know, and then you go, they'll know I'm, and I don't know if you just want to do that bit again. It's fine.
Should I?
If you want to, it might make.
They all say, he literally said no. Do what the man says. Okay, I think we're all good then. All right, lovely. Okay.